Okay, welcome students to this short little tutorial on how to complete your APA template paper. It is really very simple. I'm going to go through the basic steps of how to complete this. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen for just a minute, and then I'm actually going to share my screen with you so that you can see what I'm seeing. And I'm going to walk you through the different steps of completing your APA template so that it doesn't seem as scary as it does at first glance. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to go to the website. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Learning Studio. So I have it bookmarked. I use Mozilla Firefox as my web browser, and if I go up here to the top, I have it bookmarked, so I can already go directly to Learning Studio. And then I'd put my username and password in there, and I'm just going to log in. And I'm actually logging in on the administrator side, so I'm going to see a lot more than you'll see. I have a lot of classes that I can view and look at, so I have to click here for a whole course list. But what you do is you'd go find your course, your CSS101 course, and that's what you're going to go into to find the APA template download that we're going to start working with. There's an actual template that you get to start with to create your little paper. So I'm going to go find a CSS101 class because I have access to all of them here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on CSS101 Section 1. So this would be like going into your CSS101 class. So this should look familiar. This is Section 1, the instructor Stephanie Nelson. And I'm going to go ahead and go under Week 1. And under Week 1, you have your assignment APA paper template. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and this gives you all the instructions on what you need to do. Because basically all this assignment is doing, you're not writing, a separate paper or anything. You're basically just learning what are the different elements, what are the different parts that go into making up an APA template. So if we look through the instructions, okay, you're going to have 3 pages that you're going to be doing something to, a 3-page document. So the first page is your title page, okay, and we're going to go through and replace some of the generic information that's in the template we'll start out with what is there. Then for page 2, this is where you'd actually start your paper. So this would be if you're writing a paper on business law and you're talking about a particular case, this is where you'd start talking about all the facts of that case. Then on page 3, or the very last page of whatever paper it is you're writing, you do a reference page. So we're going to go through and just do these 3 pages very, very simply. So the first thing that you want to do with is in the second paragraph, it says you can also view this APA template, and it's available as a Microsoft Word document, also what's called an RTF or a rich text file. So if you're somebody that's having to use like OpenOffice, you can open the rich text file in that. I'm going to go ahead and just open the .docx one because I have Microsoft Word on my computer. So I just click on the little link, and it's going to go ahead and automatically say you've chosen to open this document. What do you want to open it with? What do you want Firefox to do with it? So I'm just going to go ahead and tell it to open. So it's going to go ahead and open my paper. And now if I minimize at the top, there's that little minimize button that is the little minus sign. That'll minimize it and take me right back to my paper. And then down at the bottom of my toolbar, and most of you guys should have this no matter what computer you're using, down at the bottom where the little W is will take me back to my template. So here is our title page. We're going to go ahead and start out with our title page. So the first thing that we have to change is the generic information where it says running head, short title here. So what we want to do is this is what's called a header. And right now if you notice that down here in where it says title of paper here, your first name, last name, it's black, but up here it looks gray. So that means we have to do something a little special to be able to access the font here and to be able to access the header. So all I'm going to do is I'm putting the little arrow right on where the header is, or the text, and I'm double left clicking very quickly. And what that does is it opens up the header, turns it black, okay, and this way you can go ahead and edit. And so the only thing that I want to change here is running head, okay, with the colon I want to keep because that's always going to be on your first page. Then if you notice up here at the top, okay, when we're in the header, this new little toolbar comes up, and you always just want to make sure that different first page is marked. Okay, and once that's marked, then that will allow everything else to fall into place. So we're good there. So I'm going to go ahead and just highlight this short title here and get rid of that. And over it, I'm going to type what it says in the directions. The directions say that it should say Personal APA Template. Okay, so it's all in caps, okay, because it's a header. So that's why that looks like that. Then if I double click anywhere else in the paper, it's going to, and left click, okay, anywhere else in the paper, that's going to close the header. Now, here, I'm just going to replace this information. Again, if we go back to, okay, your classroom here, okay, we've done, this is the header. Okay, now we're going to do our name and title and all that information that it's telling us to do in these instructions. So here, again, I'm just going to highlight and type over. I'm just going to put the title of the paper again as Personal APA Template. And again, this is not in all caps, it's just a title, so just the first letter basically of each word is capitalized. And APA is usually always capitalized because it's an acronym. It actually stands for American Psychology Association. So then here, I'm just going to highlight this, and I'm just going to replace it with whatever your name is. So for this one, I'm just going to do Jane Doe to be easy. Okay, and then this is the course number, so we're in CSS101, and then each of you should have a section. And the instructors usually just like to see this because then it differentiates it. So if I go back again to, okay, here, I can look up here in whatever class I'm in, so whatever CSS1 you're in, if you look at the very end of it, all of them should say like 015 or some of them may say 017. What you're looking for is that end number. It'll say 001, 002, 00, whatever. Okay, so this happens to be section 1. So I'm going to go ahead and put in, whoops, there we go. Okay, section 1, and then the due date is whatever date you're completing it. So say this is, this was due Saturday, so I'm going to go ahead and put like Saturday's date, which was for, I believe, 12/14. So because it was due by Saturday at midnight, so I want to make sure I turn it in on time. And then you want to put your instructor's name. Okay, so I'm highlighting it and I'm going to type over. And if you look on your course homepage, or not course homepage, but even in the assignment, up at the very top of it, you can see that your instructor's name is up there below the name of the course. So this instructor is Stephanie Nelson, so I'm going to go ahead and use her name for this. So Stephanie Nelson. Okay, then I want to go ahead and save what I've done so I don't lose this first page. So the best way to do this is to go up to the very top, okay, left-hand corner where my arrow is going, up to the File tab. It'll be dark blue. You click on the File tab, and then I'm going to choose to save as because I want to give this a new new file name, and I want to make sure it's going to be in my document. So after I click Save As, I'm going to go under Libraries, and I want to go to Documents because I want to save it in my documents so I know where I'm saving it. And then I just want to change the file name to something that I'll remember that it is. So I'm going to go ahead and just click at the beginning here, and I'm just going to call this like Jane Doe's APA template and just keep it very simple. Okay, and then I'll save it. Now it's saved to my computer, okay, and I'll know where to find it when I need to turn it in. So now I'm going to go down to page 2. Okay, and page 2, now this is the only other place you'll have to do anything to the header. And this is just a little different. You don't have to have the running head on page 2, 3, 4, 5, any of the other pages. The running head part only goes on page 1. So again, I'm going to double left click in here to open that up. And then I'm just going to go ahead in here and I'm going to type Personal APA Template once more in all caps. Okay, and then I'm going to hit Tab twice to get the 2 to go back over to that right-hand side where it belongs. And then I'm going to double click anywhere else in the document to close out of the header. Okay, now it shot me back up to page 1, but that's okay. Just go ahead and scroll back down. And we have to do, there's a lot of repetitiveness here. So again, where it says Insert Title of paper here, I'm going to go ahead and put in Personal APA Template again. Okay, and all I'm doing is highlighting and typing over because that seems to work the best. Now, if we go back and look at the instructions, what do we do next? Okay, so I've gone through all of the page 1 stuff. Page 2, we needed to do the header, and we needed to center the title at the top of the page. So that's already been done. Now the next part is there's a little paragraph that they want us to copy and paste and replace the information that's there. So the easiest way to do this is to go back to your paper, and if I start with Insert Text here, your paragraph, your introduction paragraph of your paper, if I start here and I'm clicking and dragging, so I'm highlighting, so I'm left clicking and holding it down, and I'm just going to go down all the way to the bottom of page 2 because I want to get rid of all this generic information. So basically it's the end of this little web address right here. Okay, so now that that's all highlighted, I'm going to go ahead and go back again to my classroom, and then I'm going to left click and drag over the paragraph. It's this entire paragraph that starts, many students grumble and moan. You don't need to worry about the paragraph part that says paragraph and has the little colon that's bold. Don't worry about that. To start with, many students grumble and moan, and you want to go all the way down to the bottom where it says job market. Now, the easiest way to do this is there's two ways you can do this. You can do it with the mouse or you can do it with the keyboard. So if you do it with the keyboard, you can hold down your control key, okay, and hit the C key, which I'm doing right now. So I'm doing control C, okay, and then, or I can do a right click where see this little pointer, it's hovering right over what I've highlighted. I can also right click and tell it to copy. Okay, once I've done that, I'm going to go back over to my Word document. And then instead of just pasting, either Control V or right-clicking, okay, and telling it to paste, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go up here to where it says paste, okay, up at the very top left-hand corner, again, right below that file tab where we saved our file. There's a little clipboard and it says paste, and there's a little drop-down arrow. I'm going to click on that little drop-down arrow, and the one that I want to choose is this middle clipboard, okay, where it says merge formatting. And if you notice, when I paste this, it's going to change, okay, to what I want to paste there. And it's going to keep it the formatting of the APA template. It's going to keep the font as Times New Roman 12. So you always want to pick the little clipboard that has the little blue arrow going to the right. So I click on that and it pastes it right over for me. So that's excellent. Now I've got page 2 all done. So now I'm going to scroll down to the last page, okay, which would be my reference page where you would do a citation. So as you're, typing your paper on business law, say you used, some information from a textbook, maybe you use an actual case that somebody wrote up, you want to give them credit for the work, that they did, and if you use any of their work in your work, you have to give them credit for it. So that's what the reference and the citations are for. So now this on me, I don't know if this will do this on yours, but what it did on my Word is it kicked references up onto the second page, and we don't want it there. So if I click right in front of references, so my cursor is blinking in front of the R, and I hold down that control key on the keyboard again, it'll say CTRL, and you have one on the left and the right hand side of the keyboard at the bottom. Hold that down and hit enter. Okay, and that'll put it right down at the bottom of, or at the top of page 3. It'll put it down where you want it. Now, if you notice on page 3, Personal APA Template is already there. We don't have to worry about messing with the header this time because after page 2, it'll automatically do it on each page you have below this. So if we scroll down, I think this goes down a little bit onto page 4. So you notice that page 4 here also has that. So every other page that you do from now on will already have the header. So you only have to mess with the header on page 1, your title page, and page 2 of the main part of the paper. So now this is already here for you, so you don't have to worry about putting references in there. So now let's go back to the instructions and see what do we have to put in place of what's there. So I'm going to click off of what I highlighted and look at the instructions again. So I already have the center, the title references there. Now I need to put this citation in there that they asked me to put in there. So here's the citation. It starts with Smith P, okay, 2011. I'm going to go ahead and left click and drag again all the way across and down so that I have those 2 lines highlighted. So the name, the title, okay, and where it was retrieved from, what web address it was retrieved from. So again, if I hover, okay, my little arrow over what I've highlighted and right click, or again Control C, can do either way. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and copy. I'm going to go back to my paragraph. I'm going to scroll down, and again, I'm going to highlight everything that I want it to replace. So I'm left clicking and dragging all the way down to the bottom. Okay, and this actually goes on to page 4, and so I want to get rid of what's on page 4 too. So I'm just going to go to the end of what's on page 4. Okay, then I'll just scroll back up. And then what I want to do is when I actually paste, I'm going to go ahead and go to this paste button again up at the left-hand corner of the Microsoft Word toolbar. And I'm going to click on paste, and I'm going to click on, okay, paste options, and it's again the little clipboard with the blue arrow going to the right. So I'll click on that, and it's done it for me, but there's a couple things that I still have to do to this so it's exactly right as the APA formatting wants it. You don't want this in what's called italics. So what I'm going to do is here in the paper, I'm going to left click and drag and highlight the whole thing again. If I go up to the toolbar, there's a font section of the toolbar, and right now the italics, or the little I, is highlighted, and I don't want it highlighted because I want to turn off the italicized text. So if I click on it, if you notice it turned it off and it's regular looking text again. Now the last thing that I want to do is we have to change this into what's called a hanging paragraph. Most paragraphs when you're reading are indented about 5 spaces on that first line, and then everything else goes out to the left-hand margin. A hanging paragraph is just the opposite. The first line goes all the way out to the left-hand side, and the lines underneath it will be indented. And the easiest way to do this so that, again, the formatting that's already there doesn't get messed up and kind of turned upside down, is the easiest way is when you're highlighted, go up to where my little arrow, and it says paragraph. Under paragraph, there's this little arrow that you can click on, okay, and it'll open up a dialog box. Or, okay, if I cancel that, you can also right-click with your arrow over this, and the option for paragraph will come up. So we can do either way to access that dialog box. Okay, and we're on indents and spacing, which is where we want to be. We want to go under indentation, and then we're going to go under special. And under special, there's a little drop-down menu. We go ahead and click on that, and we want to go to hanging. So it'll automatically do hanging for us. Then all we have to do is click at the bottom and click OK, and you notice it's indented it the way that we want it to. So now we're good. We've got our page 1. Let's go up to page 1 and take a look at it again. So your page 1 should say Running Head, Personal APA Template. You have the title, you have your name, you have the course and section, you have the date and your instructor's name on that title page. Then we scroll down to page 2. You should have Personal APA Template in the header this time, no running head. And then Personal APA Template as the title, again, centered on the page. And then you have your paragraph that we copied from the instructions. We scroll down to page 3. It'll automatically put the header in for you this time. We have the title of this page as references, and we copy and paste it over the citation that we need. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and save this under File one more time. I'll go under File and click Save. Save it one more time so that it's saved, and you can notice down there at the bottom it was saving it for me. And then if I close it, this is where I'd go and turn it into the Dropbox. And when I'm in the actual I'm in the administrator side, so when I go into the Dropbox, it's not going to look the same as yours. We'd go ahead and go into the Dropbox, and this is something you can call your student advisor up for and say, hey, I'm not quite sure how to do the Dropbox. You can go ahead and turn it in there. So you'd go and turn it into the Dropbox. So I went ahead and just closed it. And when I'm looking for it, if I want to go find my file, like on my computer, if you're looking at my screen here, down at the bottom, most of you should have this little file button that looks like actual file folder icon. And if I click on that, that gives me all of my files. So when I'm going and browsing and looking for any of my files, I can find them all here. So again, if I go under Documents, if you remember that's where I saved my file, I'll go under Documents. And then I have to find the file. I have a lot of stuff on here. So if I go down to the J's, because remember I saved this under Jane Doe. So here's Jane Doe's APA template. So if I opened it up, here it is again. Okay, and so we know it's there. I know it's saved in my computer. You can always double check that if you want to. And then again, this is kind of, I know it's there, and that's kind of what I'd be looking for, okay, this Jane Doe under Documents when I'm going and attaching it, okay, and going through the attachment process. Okay, so hopefully that helps a little bit and that gives you an idea. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and let me know if you have any other questions. Or not me, but your student advisor. Your student advisor will be able to give you a hand and help you get that turned in. But this should be at least a little tutorial that gives you an idea of the elements, the things that you need to do to be able to APA template together. So again, any questions, direct them to your student advisor, and they'll be able to help you get that finished. Because really, if you understand how to do this, you're going to understand how to do all the other APA papers you're going to be doing. This is just to teach you how to set an APA paper up. What are the elements that go into it? Things like the running head, things like the hanging paragraph, the citations, all those kind of little different things, you know, the font type, Times Roman 12. Just all that kind of stuff is just to be helpful to you. So I appreciate your time in watching this. I hope you found it helpful. And again, call your student advisor if you need any help.